So when you join us, I think that the basics of being successful with us are based on 4 things. And if you can do these 4 things like right away from Jump Street, your chances of success goes up exponentially, right? But if you don't do one of these 4, or all 4, then your probability of failure goes up exponentially as well. Okay, so it's kind of like if you ask me the question, Alex, give me the top things that successful agents do to get started, because I want to be a successful agent. And this is exactly what I would tell you. Okay. First, I would ask you, just the basic question: what is it that you want? Okay. Is it income? What is it that you want? Okay. When do you want it? And the third one is, what are you willing to give up in order to get it? What are you willing to sacrifice? Right? It might seem like simple concepts, but it's an important concept, because it's one thing to hear it, but it's another thing to do it. Okay. What do you want? And that's one of the hardest things, right, for anybody, is to figure out what they really want. Like, what do you want from this? What do you want this business to do for you? Okay. And then when you can define that, then let's put a time stamp on it. When do you want that to happen? Because everything that you want translates to income, right? Like a weekly income. And then that weekly income's got to translate into, when do you want that weekly income to happen? Okay. And it doesn't matter when. Like, if you want to be a millionaire, that's 80 grand a month. Simple, right? About 80,000 a month, 85,000 a month, broken down to like 22,000 a week, right? I know. So how do I make 22,000 a week? And I can give you a game plan. And when you want that to happen? Well, in a year it could be done, but let's make it more realistic. If it happened 5 years from now, would that be okay with you? Okay. So then we break it down to, what do you need to do now, to get to 2,000 a week? So let's get to 2,000 a week so we can get to 22,000 a week. Does that make sense? So it boils down to what your goal is. All right. And so if that goal is important to you because you want to pour everything you have in it, okay. And I'm not talking to those of you that are just dipping your toe in the water to see if this thing will work. For those of you that are dipping the toe in the water, I'll recommend what you need to do to make money with us, but this stuff won't really be relevant to you, okay? I'm talking to the person that was like me when I got started, and that's, man, I wanted this so bad. I wanted to flush my job so bad. I wanted to have independence. I wanted to have freedom so bad. I was willing to do anything. I was willing to put whatever limited resources I had into it, but I was mainly going to pour my time, resources into it, my emotional resources into it, and whatever I had left on my credit cards to pour into it. So if that's you, then I'm talking to you. All right. So what are the 4 things that, will help you become successful sooner than later? Will help you make money sooner than later, help you get that goal that you want. The first thing is, you got to be a good listener. Okay. Now, why do you have to be a good listener? Because here's the premise. I don't make a dime until you make $1, right? So why would I tell you anything that would hurt you? I would never say anything that would slow you down, that would hurt you, because anything I would do to hurt you, then I'm taking food out of my child's mouth. I am hurting my family if I don't help you, if I don't recommend the things that'll help you get to your goal sooner than later, okay? So being a good listener is key. So when I make a suggestion or recommendation, right, you have to take it with that in mind, is that I'm just not doing it to waste my breath. Like, I'm making recommendations to you, and I'm going to be making recommendations throughout this whole thing, that if you do it, you're going to get closer to your goal. But if you choose not to, which you can, it's a free country. If you choose not to do it, then what your decision will cause you to do is to delay your goal of income. And it could delay it a month, but more likely it'll delay it 3 to 6 months, typically, is what I've seen in my experience of doing this 22 years and doing another business prior to this, 7 years before. So 30 years of building businesses, it's typically it'll hold you back, 3 to 6 months by any little decision that you choose not to do. And then if you make another decision not to do something I recommend, you add another 3 to 6 months. So I mean, look, I don't care. Okay, you're the one with the goal, not me. I'm here to help, but that's the choices that you're making, right? And so you got to be a good listener, right? You got to understand that your current financial situation will not change unless you listen to what we recommend and do what it is that we recommend that you do. Okay, does that make sense? So when I say, look, you need to be on all our webinars, and if you can't be on our webinars live, then watch the playback link later. Make time before you go to bed to watch it. I know it might be an hour long, but it's important. That's why I record these, so that you can watch it later, okay? So when I make that recommendation, it's only to help you. Now, look, you don't got to be on any of these, right? Production is king. So if you're producing 20, 30,000 a month, I will leave you alone if you are never on a conference call. In fact, I wouldn't want you to be on one of these Zoom calls. It might mess you up, right? Let's just keep you making money, and I'm fine with that. Production is king. But if you're not producing at the level that you need to produce, well then, ergo, you need to be on these webinars. Alex, there are a lot of them. Right. There's a lot of them because there are a lot of people out there like you that need help, okay? So anyway, being a good listener is key. Okay, so I'm sorry to break it to you. I'm gonna have to be honest, right? But this business takes work. Some people hate that 4-letter word work, but anything that we do to make the kind of money we make takes a lot of work, okay? It takes focused work. It takes laser focused work, doing consistently week after week after week, right? You gotta be willing to put the work in, right? So my question for you when you're getting started with us is, how much time do you have to work with us, right? I mean, you have other priorities in your life, okay? I'm not saying this has to be the #1 priority, but you have to assign a priority to this business, because if you don't put the time in, then it's just going to be a hobby for you, right? You're going to earn hobby income. So being able to assign your schedule to this venture will ensure that you have an opportunity to make it. Okay, so that is such an important thing. So how much time do you have to commit for this? So let me ask you another question. Is your spouse going to help you or hurt you? Will your spouse hold you back? Will your spouse, really put, a wrench in the whole works, that even though you carve the time out, he or she will demand that time back from you where you can't do anything, right? And so one of the most important things, if you have a significant other, is to get their buy-in that this thing takes priority. When I got in this thing, man, I wanted to flesh my job. I wanted to be with my children. I wanted to be a mentor for my children. I didn't want to be a stay-at-home or a stay-at-work father that never was around my children. I did not want that life, right? And so that's why I was willing to put everything I had in it, every minute. Like, my wife understood, if I wanted to get my goal sooner, like fleshing my job, and I was making 150 grand a year 22 years ago, right? It's making a lot of money. And today's dollars would be around over 200,000 a year. So imagine trying to replace that with a business like this, 100% commission. Man, I was fanatical. I did everything. I worked through the weekend. I worked till midnight. I was studying. I was doing everything because I wanted it bad. I don't know how bad you want it. Like, if you're just tipping your foot in the water, talk's not for you. But those of you that want this bad enough, then do what I did, man. Do what I did. That's what I'd recommend. okay? If your spouse is not into it, man, have her attend some of these webinars. Have her, tap into the TWC or the activity call, or have her go to a live meeting that we're putting on with you, so he or she can be there with you to understand that these people are awesome people that you're going to be hanging around, right? Sometimes your spouse is just, it's like, I don't know, it sounds like a cult, sounds like, help them understand, right? The other part of work is putting, like I said, putting a schedule together. When are you dialing the phone to book appointments? When are you running appointments? When can you do interviews, right, to build your business? We've got all the training. We have a game plan for you if you're willing to get with me, and then we can put a game plan together for you. So the work ethic is very important, and it's important to establish that from jump, right, from day one, so you can turn that into a habit week after week. The sooner you can turn your work ethic into a habit, man, nothing will stop you in this business. I promise you, nothing will stop you. But it's the number one thing that holds most agents back, is getting that consistent effort over time every week, because Satan has a way of stealing your time. In fact, Satan's left you alone up until the point that you decided to have a dream and then do something about your dream to get in this business. Then he starts throwing darts at you, okay? And he starts paying attention to you by messing you up. You know how that is. Anytime someone has a sincere goal that ends up helping other people, ends up, taking souls away from him, he's going to mess you up. So you got to be ready. You got to be ready for it, man. Don't give in to that. Okay, so you got to be a good listener. You got to have a work ethic. Okay, the third one is you got to be willing to associate with people that are where in life you want to be, man. It's so important that you hang out with the right people. And here's what really cracks me up. It's like those of you that have children, like, answer this question. Do you want your kids to hang around the drug dealers and the druggies in the back parking lot that are smoking dope? Or do you want your kids hanging around the honors classes kids that are college bound, that want to do something great in their life, right? Which one would you rather have your children associate with? Which group? Well, I know, it's probably an easy question. I want my kids hanging around, the kids are moving on their lives, going to college, doing something with their life. And my kids have always done that. Why? Because they saw me going after association, going to conferences, getting around the people that know more than me. And trust me, I need to know more than what I know now in order for me to move on, and in order for me to give you more, right? So I got to keep working on me so I can help you, right? I got to work on me so I can help my family. And that's just getting around the people that know more than me. And I've been doing some crazy association this last 6 weeks so we can get our act together and get our stuff together so I can help you better. So the power of association is huge, right? We do this in so many different ways. That's why I talk about attending all the meetings, attending all the Zoom calls, right? Attending all the live in-person meetings. We have Fall Summit coming up, right? The end of September, September 30th. It's a one-day, event where all the meals are paid for. You can just go to Burlington, North Carolina at our headquarters and have the opportunity to hang around all the top people, right? You just get there, okay? Again, listen to what I'm saying. It's a recommendation. But why do I make recommendations like that? Because it's going to help you get to your financial goals sooner than later. Things will happen, I promise you, at that Fall Summit that will change your way of thinking, which then changes your business, which then brings your goals sooner, right? You will achieve it sooner because you're doing something that will increase your ability to associate and get around the top people. So live events, hotspot meetings. We used to have hotspot meetings. Now we have like ad hoc in-person meetings, boot camps or whatever. All our webinars that we do every week, right? We do 2 major functions, national functions a year. We just got done with our family reunion conference in July, and then coming up in January, our national convention, which is just really huge. And man, if you're gonna go to anything in the Alliance, anything that we're putting together, you gotta be at national convention and family reunion. It's only 2 functions a year. You gotta do everything you can to get there, man. So that's the power of association. How can it hurt you? I always thought of it this way. How could it ever hurt you to get around people that are fired about where they're going, people that can answer your questions, your detailed questions on how to move forward, right? That you can put your MP3 recorder and put it up to them and ask them a question, and they're going to answer you honestly, right? So power of association is huge, just like it's huge for your children, okay? The fourth one and the last one in how to become successful sooner than later is you've got to be willing to change. Change hurts. Change is hard. Change requires you to get out of your comfort zone, right? But growth happens outside your comfort zone. Growth does not happen in your comfort zone. I knew a guy who just awesomely successful in the insurance business, and he looked at every possible way to get out of his comfort zone, doing stuff that just did not feel comfortable, like cold contacting people that, you know, that was sitting across the room because they looked like a sharp couple, and just going up and meeting them out of his comfort zone. But he said, man, out of my comfort zone, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just do it because I'm uncomfortable. Do you see how that works? It's just growth happens outside your comfort zone. So you got to be willing to change. You got to change your old habits to new habits. See, you are where you are today because all the habits you put in place to keep you where you are, okay? All the books you've read is the reason why you're at where you're at. The people you hang around is the reason why you're where you're at. If you want to change where you're going, then you're going to have to change how you think. And how you do that is you got to change who you hang around, whose advice that you're getting, the books that you're reading, right? And you got to change what you do. You got to change your habits, right? So if you want to live a longer life, then you better change that habit of smoking. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why smokers pay double the premiums than non-smokers, because their mortality doubles, okay? And those of you that are smokers on here, sorry to tell you the truth, okay? But you're gonna have to change the habit. Other habits that you're doing is holding you back. So the only way to move forward and change the trajectory of your life is to change your habits, right? Change that do loop of failure that you're in every time. The way that you emotionally react to stress and stuff that happens in your life, you don't change that, you're going to continue to repeat that bad behavior, which keeps you where you're at, right? I mean, I've had conversations with some of you very specifically, and you keep telling me the same things. I'm going to change, I'm going to do it. It's like, okay, I'm going to talk to you every week, okay? Then you fall back, you might call me one week, maybe the next week, and then you fall off. Why? You fall off because you feel guilty that you haven't been doing what you said you're going to do. That's all right. Just keep talking to me, man. Anyway, you gotta be willing to change. So my question for you, and this is a serious question that you got to consider, is can you do those four things? Can you listen? Can you work? Right? Are you willing to associate and you're willing to change? If you're willing to do those four things, okay, so you got to get to the point of being willing to do it. And that willingness to do it means that you are making a decision to not do other things, right? To not do those things that hold you back, and doing these four things that will move you forward, okay? So the first question, are you willing to do it? Are you able to do it? Then will you do it? Will you listen? Will you work? Will you associate? Will you change, right? It's got to start up here with a decision. Now, a decision said verbally holds a certain amount of weight because you're speaking it. But until that decision turns into action every week, then it's just a wish. It's just a lie, right? Because what comes out of your mouth becomes a lie if you don't implement the work, right? The daily habit change that you need to do. It's going to be hard at the beginning. Trust me, I know. It is hard. That's why we make a lot of money, because what we do is not easy. I never wanted it to be easy, because if it were easy, then everyone can do it. Then we'd be making minimum wage, man. Okay? Even if minimum wage is 15 bucks an hour, like 15 bucks an hour, do you know what kind of income 15 bucks an hour is? You know, the average, what it's 2,000 hours a year. That's what people work. So 15 times 2,000, 30,000 a year. How do you live on 30,000 a year? Now, some of y'all have to do it temporarily. Okay. You got to be creative. That's all right. But as long as you're making a decision to change your habits to where you're putting in place the activities every week of what millionaires do, what 100,000aires do, what 300,000aires do, then you will make 300,000 a year. You'll make $1 million a year. You'll make that income if you're doing the things that those people do, right? So let's just do it step by step. Let's not overwhelm you, right? Let's call me, get with me, and we'll put a game plan together on how you can start, right, moving forward, and then let's get you moving forward, okay? So those are the 4 things. If you're willing to do those 4 things, then you and I have something to talk about. We've got some goals to set. We've got things to do, man, all right? And you can do it. You can do it, because I did it, man, and I've got all kinds of crazy monkeys in my head. You know what I'm saying? And so if I can do it, man, you can do it too, all right? So that's LWAC.